I am not creating this just for Black women who happen to be 39 and pregnant. I just happen to be a Black woman who is 39 and pregnant. I'm going to do everything that I can, and I'm going to leave the rest to God, the universe, anything else you believe in. Hey, what's up, y'all? My name is Aurelia Michael Holmgren, and welcome back to my channel and series 40, Fertile, and Fearless. I am recording this for the second time because for some reason, majority of the audio, once it was uploaded to YouTube, disappeared. And I couldn't do y'all like that. So we're gonna talk today about how I prepared to get knocked up. I also want to share why I decided to document this as I enter my 40th year of life being pregnant and the things that I hope you will get out of this series. If you've seen any of my videos, you should know this is more than just babies. This is about becoming and not forgetting the wonderful person you've been all the way up to this point. So a little bit of background on how it all started. So when I was 38, I was about to turn 38, I was going to New York to work on a show on Broadway. And so I thought that would be the perfect time to start working on preparing my body to get pregnant. So I was going to be there for 3 months without my husband. And so I got off of birth control for the first time. I had been on and off of birth control for over 20 years, simply because I didn't understand tracking. I didn't really know about ovulation. Someone just said, get on this pill when I was younger, and I just stayed on it. Had I had known back in the day things that you could do better, maybe I would have made other choices, but Hakuna Matata. So during those 3 months, I wanted to make sure that I was doing everything in my power to prepare my body. I had just finished 4 years of competitive bodybuilding. That was 30 to 35 pound fluctuations over and over. So I knew the first thing my body needed was a rest. I had finished in June. I was headed to New York in August. As soon as I finished my show, I made sure that I was resting, recovering, and getting off of those pills. So aside from getting off of the pill, I also made sure that I started taking prenatal vitamins. I know that was like the number one thing that almost every book, every podcast, every Facebook group, and every friend were recommending. So I got off of all of the supplements I was taking while I was bodybuilding, even some of them that weren't necessarily maybe harmful, but that weren't necessary anymore. That way I would get used to just taking the prenatal vitamin. Now I also read some books, I listened to some podcasts, and I got into some Facebook groups. Let's talk about it. So the first book I read was What to Expect Before You're Expecting. And this is obviously from the What to Expect series. I wanted to get ahead of the game. I wanted to know what I should be working on, what I shouldn't be. Now, I know no book has all the answers, but this was a very reputable book. And honestly, I really enjoyed it. I think I love it because it's a mother-daughter duo that create these books. If you've ever listened to their podcast they used to have, they're super chill, they're super real, raw, honest, and I found it very beneficial. So if you look in the description link, I put a list of all the books that I've read that I recommend, and I even put the ones I personally didn't enjoy, but you might. The second book was a key, The Impatient Woman's Guide to Getting Pregnant. Any type A people out there? Any Virgos in the house? Go ahead and let me know in the comments. Type A, Virgo, is that you? I don't have time for this. Let's go. Let's figure it out. What do I need to do? Let's get it done, and let's get it done now. I want to do everything that's in my power, that's in my control to have the best outcome as soon as possible. So this book was not only informative, it was super funny. It was helpful. It wasn't like overly witty that you're like, okay, don't beat me over the head with all the jokes. But you got in and you got out. And so I love that it was kind of like a Cliff Notes version of things that you can do, because there are a good amount of things you can do, but a lot of it is out of your control. So it also wasn't just for the impatient woman. I think it was also for the woman that needs to relax and be like, okay, I'm going to do everything that I can, and I'm going to leave the rest to God, the universe, anything else you believe in. And then the third book I read was Taking Charge of Your Fertility. I'm not going to lie to you, it wasn't my cup of tea, but it was because it went so in depth on how to track. And I think this would have been helpful if I had looked at this maybe when I was younger, had more information, but it was a lot to take in. It just was a bit overwhelming. So I got through about half of it. It is a pretty thick book. But if that's something you're really interested in, learning how to track and understand your fertility in general more, I would highly suggest it. Maybe get it from the library. But if you're interested in having your own hard copy, check out the description below. Podcasts. Okay, so the 3 podcasts I listened to. I listened to What to Expect podcast. Now, they stopped in about, I think, 2024. but a lot of their topics are still very relevant. And to hear a mother-daughter duo talk about like dirty places they had sex is hilarious to me. So it doesn't feel like I'm listening to a lecture. It feels like I'm listening to a conversation. Their Q&As are incredible because they just keep it real about things. And so even though they don't do any new episodes, I still suggest listening to it. The second one I listened to was the 40 Weeks Pregnancy Podcast. Now, I didn't realize they had two. One was just the pregnancy podcast, and then one that's specific to the 40 weeks. So before I even started preparing to get knocked up, I listened to all 40 weeks. I needed to know what was going on. I wanted to know what was growing and eyes coming to the front and ears coming around. And I just wanted to know. So I listened, they're all 5-minute episodes. So I listened to the whole thing through. And then as we were starting to prepare, and when I got back to LA, I started listening to their actual podcast, which is still going and has incredible episodes on literally every topic you can think of. They cover it. And so I highly suggest the pregnancy podcast. And the third one that I started listening to actually once I was pregnant, and that podcast is called Big Fat Positive, which is kind of a play on getting the big fat positive sign that you're pregnant on a pregnancy test. So they go through all the way from when they first found out and told each other to now they're doing episodes as moms. One of them already had a child, one is an entrepreneur, one works more corporate. So you get both perspectives. You get good Q&A. They bring incredible guests on. I just listened to an episode about, especially if you have dogs, how to work with your dog when you're bringing a child into the world. And so I met an incredible coach virtually through that. So I would highly suggest that podcast as well. Now let's talk about Facebook groups. I was in Facebook groups for maybe about 2 days because I was finding everything in the Facebook group but what I came for. There was a lot of drama stories. There were a lot of people, just wanting to vent, to be heard, to be supported. Like, yeah, girl, forget that man. And it was a lot of drama, and it actually wasn't very informative. It wasn't exciting me. I didn't feel like I personally was embracing or getting embraced into a community. So not only did I leave Facebook, but I also left the Facebook groups. But if that's something you're interested in, just kind of sitting back and just reading through what people are going through, just prepare yourself. That's all I'm gonna say. So the next thing I started to do while I was in New York was paying attention to ovulation. Now, I didn't know that as you got older, your ovulation can be irregular. Being on birth control, I just assumed everything was going as it should, but it was going as my pill was telling it to. So although I got off of birth control in August, I actually didn't see ovulation on the ovulation sticks that I use, also down below, until March. So it took about 6 months for my body to be like, okay, we're all regulated now. Now my cycle still came, but I wasn't seeing any ovulation signs. So I started using the Flow app, just taking notice of, okay, on this day I felt this. I didn't really understand how discharge worked and what that meant. And so while I was still waiting for that ovulation to show, I learned a lot of information about the body, the woman's body, and what certain discharges meant. And honestly, it made the time go faster because I still felt like I was learning throughout the process. Exercise, eating, and alcohol. Now, as I said before, I was a 4-year competitive bodybuilder. And even before that, I was kind of living the lifestyle of a competitive bodybuilder. So I made sure that while I was in New York, I found the local gym. I made sure I was there every morning before rehearsal. I made sure I stretched. I just made sure that I was taking care of my body all around because a lot of pregnant women I talk to now are having challenges getting to the gym because it wasn't something they were doing before. So if you are currently not very active, even if it's just going out for a walk, a bike ride, a skating party, go hiking, anything, or if you go to the gym and you're at Planet Fitness and you do the 30-minute circuit routine, just start moving, start getting in that habit, especially if you're like me. Weight gain was very important to me. So when I first recorded this, I was 4 weeks pregnant. Now I am 18 weeks pregnant. And I have honestly dealt with a lot of body dysmorphia because I was coming from a place where at one moment I was 130 pounds and one moment I was 98 pounds. And so now that I know I can't lose weight or go on a diet, it was very difficult for me. But having that desire constantly to be in the gym has been extremely helpful because I still feel like I'm maintaining my weight gain. Because a lot of people have this idea that once you become pregnant, just eat whatever you want. No, you want to make sure that you're eating properly also for your baby. Do enjoy yourself, but there are ways to gain weight slowly over time as opposed to packing it on in the beginning. If you do, that's your business, and I'm gonna mind the business that pays me. But I just knew I didn't want that to be my MO. So I made sure that I was exercising during those 3 months I was in New York. I was making sure that I was eating properly. I was meal prepping. I was eating at home instead of, spending money every day down in Times Square, because y'all know that can be $40 a meal. And then I just limited my alcohol. I was already not a drinker. I'm very much a lightweight, but I just wanted to be more aware of like, okay, well, what does 9 months plus, if you're considering breastfeeding, look like without alcohol? So I stopped drinking. Okay, so in October, I was there since August. In October, my husband Adam came to visit in the middle of the trip. And in my mind, I was like, oh, it's about to happen right now. It's about to go down. We learned so much. First of all, as I mentioned, pretty sure I didn't get the ovulation sticks yet, but I'm pretty sure I wasn't ovulating yet. I didn't know about certain lubricants, and you may want to research this yourself, that you can and cannot use when you're trying to get pregnant. So we had a bit of a learning curve. We had a good time, don't get me wrong, but we had a bit of a learning curve. So I thought it may happen on the first try. It did not, but that was okay. And then I got back in November. We went on vacation, and then when I ovulated again, we were in New York again unexpectedly, staying at my folks' house, so we wasn't gonna do that. And then we decided to take off in January. I still wasn't seeing ovulation. I wasn't seeing ovulation in February. March was the first time it was clear as day. We tried twice, and boom, here we are. And just to briefly talk about why I'm deciding to document this process. And I want to be clear because some of my videos have already come out and I've gotten comments. I am not creating this just for Black women who happen to be 39 and pregnant. I just happen to be a Black woman who is 39 and pregnant. But if you Google pregnancy vlogs, pregnancy videos, there is a lack of representation of Black women. And so I want to be a part of the change I seek. But these videos are for all women. It does not matter. And so I decided to document this because there are women out there who maybe all their life didn't dream that the biggest thing in their world would be a child, who, put their businesses, sometimes on the forefront and have to learn how to kind of let it take a bit of a back seat. Those who want to be, as I say, businesswomen. I'm a businesswoman. I'm a bodybuilder babe. I'm a Broadway chick. And now I'm a baby mama. Women who know that they can do it all. You just can't do it all at the same time. And you can do it after 35, after geriatric advanced maternal age. I just want to eradicate these statistics as much as I can because, yeah, for some women, this is going to be a rough journey. But I think also the mind tells the body what to do. And if we continue to submit to these age-old statistics, then some people don't even try, or they try on the wrong day. And it can be literally just trying on the wrong day that gets in the way between you and your goal. So I am going to continue to do these videos for all women. I just happen to be a proud Afro-Latina. And lastly, what I want you to get out of it, I'm a community junkie. So if you write me a comment, your girl's gonna respond. And I hope other people in the comments respond respectfully, and that we build a beautiful community here where you don't feel alone, especially if you are older. Or I have people hitting me up that are in their 20s that are like, I think that's the path I want to take. I think I want to focus on my career, and then when that moment feels right, I want to try. So this is for everyone, and so I'm really hoping that you get a sense of community, clarity. She's going to keep it real over here, so there's no sugarcoating. So I'm not doing this because I'm trying to be, an influencer or famous or whatever. I enjoy doing this. God's called me to do this, and I know he has, because I hate making content. Yet here I am with 15 videos in the queue ready to schedule for y'all. So you'll get my pregnancy vlogs. Right now I already have my first trimester part 1. There's 3 parts to each trimester vlog. Then you'll have specific things talking about doulas. I'll be bringing my doula in, talking about different exercises, prenatal yoga, prenatal Pilates. I'll be bringing in the instructors that I have. I have so many things you should still do while you're pregnant, things you should do for your partner while you're pregnant. We've got an incredible community we're building here, and I hope you continue to be a part of it. And lastly, this isn't just my story. This is a conversation, so I want you to keep it going. If you liked it, go ahead, hit that thumbs up. If you have something to say, drop a comment below, respectfully. Please subscribe, and please share if this can benefit anyone else. So again, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe. You gotta like, comment, share, subscribe. And remember, age doesn't define your timeline. You do.